Got a question you want answered? Email us at racingpodcastnj@gmail.com.
Welcome back to RPM Podcast.
And here we are again. It is October 15th, 2019, episode 154 of the RPM podcast. It is 9:13 p.m. on a Tuesday night. We are a day late here. Josh was away camping, so he got home late Monday, so we decided to do it on a Tuesday night. I'm Scott Riggleman in Manchester, New Jersey, in the Edge of Divorce Motorsports studio. My brother Timmy Riggleman is up in Farmingdale, New Jersey. Tim, how are you?
Good, ready to go.
All right, and we have Josh Matthews, the producer of the RPM podcast. He's down in Waretown. Josh, how are you doing?
Good.
You're a little blurry on our screen, so we're just going to leave it at that. But you are blurry on our screen tonight.
You know, just like
we have a very
weekend.
special guest tonight. We have a very special guest calling in all the way from Kannapolis, North Carolina. He is the owner-operator of Kodie Cuts Lawn Care, but more importantly, he's the recent winner of the PRA Late Model Tour Super Late Model Race at Hickory Motor Speedway. How you doing, Kodie?
All is well over here. How are you doing, Scott?
We're doing great, man. We're very proud of you. I followed your race.
Thank you.
Really, I followed your whole race day on Facebook, and we always me and my brother always keep an eye on you, mainly because our families are so close in racing. I mean, the Connors and the Rigglemans have raced together forever.
Yeah.
Pretty much, Kodie, I don't know if you know this, but me and Tim got to pat ourselves on the back. You guys knew nothing about racing before your family met my family. I mean, we're kind of responsible for you guys racing at all. It was pretty funny back a long time ago. We met your father, Shannon, as kids. We're probably 4th, 5th grade, and we were getting ready to go somewhere, and he's like, well, where are you guys going? We're like, oh, we go to New Egypt Speedway every Friday night to watch the races. And he's like, oh, man, I like to go to races. I'm like, well, maybe ask your parents next Friday. And I'll never forget Shannon asking your grandfather, Jerry, the following Friday if he can go to New Egypt Speedway. And your Uncle Pride was sitting in the living room. He's like, New Egypt Speedway? He's like, what do they do there, race camels? That was the big joke. So yeah. And then how Jerry got involved is my parents would drive us to the racetrack, and we would watch the races. And Jerry, your grandfather, would come pick us up and give us a ride home. Well, then one day Jerry's like, well, I want to go in and watch the races. And he kind of fell in love with it. I mean, I can tell you the whole story. And then you guys had a neighbor, Jerry had a neighbor, Lenny Boyd. So he started sponsoring him a little bit. And then Shannon started liking Tom Mauser, who was our neighbor, who lived across the street from us. So your grandfather was sponsoring 2 modifieds. And before you knew it, he had a street stock and started racing. And then Pride got a street stock and started racing. But it's pretty cool that that you guys are still heavily involved in motorsports. I mean, Shannon even pursued it as a career. He moved down south. Do you know what year he moved down south? It's been a while now.
I believe it was in 98.
And he works for some pretty big teams too. I know he has a Cup championship working at Joe Gibbs with Tony Stewart. Shannon's worked for a lot of race teams. He's built race cars for a very, very long time. And now he takes pride in racing with his son Kodie on the super late model. With the super late models down there. Yeah, we did follow your weekend, and I'm pretty sure you also got the pole down there, right?
Oh, yeah. Another cool thing about Hickory is I actually hold the track record there.
Oh, really? From this weekend?
Not from this weekend. We were a little bit slow this weekend. I was just a tick too tight in qualifying, but early on this season, I believe it was with the Cars Tour series, we had gotten the track record at a 14.2.
Oh, wow. Now, you just mentioned the Cars Tour. You race the car tours. This is with the PRA Tour, a late model tour. What do you have to make any changes to your car to race the other tours? Is there any rules changes you got to adjust for, like maybe tires or something like that?
The cool thing about the PRA Tour is it took a little bit of the past series and a little bit of the Cars Tour series, their rules. So the PRA Tour is kind of either or. I can race either or, no problem. The only difference between each series is that the Pro All-Star Series runs a 25 tire on the left and a 48 tire on the right. And the Cars Tour Series runs 45s all the way around. The PRA Tour runs 45s all the way around, but it's a different sidewall. I think it's a harder compound of a sidewall. That's really the only difference are just tires.
And really, if you're going to the races anyway, 9 times out of 10, you're buying tires anyway, so it really makes no difference. So because of the different sidewalls, do you have to do any adjustments to your shocks or springs to adjust for the different sidewalls, or is it all pretty much the same?
It's all pretty much the same. We do have to make a slight adjustment. For instance, the 25 tire with the Pro All-Star Series, it's very soft compared to that harder right rear. So depending on what track we're going to, we may have to adjust the panel bar a little bit different, or may have to put a couple more rounds of wedge into the car, just mainly depending on where we're going.
Now, this PAR Tour race at Hickory last weekend, how many tires did you use? Is there like a tire roll where you can only buy so many tires, or is it unlimited?
Every series we go to, there's unlimited, or there's only no kidding. There's a minimum of 1 set, of course, because you have to have a brand new set for the race.
Right.
And there's some guys that are buying 5 sets of tires a race.
Oh my God.
To where I buy 1 race set, and if I have to, I'll buy 1 practice set.
And then does that practice set become your spare set for the feature?
Yes. I try not to put as many laps on it. I'll make at least or at maximum 20 laps on it for my race tires. Just kind of get an idea of what my car is going to do during like a short run over time. See if it might just either tighten up, stay tight, get looser, whatever it will do. But I mainly use my tires that I just got done racing with. So, for instance, this weekend, it was only a 125 lap race. So I've got at least another 25, 35 laps in them tires to practice on, to where my normal races with Cars Tour Series and the Pro All-Star Series, they're 150 lap races. So I kind of got maybe 10 to 25 laps on that set. Which
so you're saying you can get 175 laps out of a set of tires?
Yes, I do, because I look at it as I'm saving money. I'm not a big team, so I don't have unlimited funds. So saving money, plus I'm kind of getting an idea of what my car is going to handle like at the end of a 150 lap race. And a third, I feel it kind of makes me a better driver to be able to handle the car all over the place, to where whenever I need the car to go faster or be able to drive it at the end of a race where it is all over the place, I know how to drive it.
So that race you just won was 125 lapper. So that was like a non-pit stop race. You didn't have to pit at all in that race?
Yeah, we don't have to pit. We don't pit at all. We finish on the tires we start with.
Yeah, that saves you money too, because now you don't have to have so many guys to change tires and stuff like that. How much is a set of tires? How much is it per tire?
I haven't really done the math per tire, but I know a set of tires is about $700.
Oh Jesus! So you spent $1,400 in tires, huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the tough part of our sport is the tire cost. Motors are expensive, but when you buy it, you have an engine. It just kills you when you go to a racetrack and you spend $1,400 in tires, and then the next day you're cutting them up just to get rid of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't let your dad cry about buying tires. Nobody bought more tires at Flemington Speedway than Shannon Conner.
Shannon likes the new tires on Flemington.
It's funny.
Just real quick, Hickory Motor Speedways in Hickory, North Carolina. It started out as a 4/10 mile dirt oval from 1951 to 1967. Then in 1967, it changed over to a 3/8 mile paved oval, and that was from 1967 until present. It's also called Hickory Speedway. Harry Gant in 1964 and Dale Jarrett in 1977 both started their careers there. That track has a lot of history. How is that track holding up? Is the pavement getting wore out on that track?
I'd say it's about 5 years past worn out.
I tell you what, though, from when I was racing down south with that truck series, you guys down south love worn out racetracks. Up here, we like fresh paved racetracks.
Yeah, we're some cheapskates down here. That's how it works. But not the race teams, that's for sure. But yeah, Hickory actually, they did sealant. They had realized that the track is worn out, and they did some sealant in some of the cracks to fill it in. But I don't think they thought and took into account that the tires are going to be hot.
Yeah, it peels that stuff up, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, we've had that happen at some tracks up here. Before you know it, you're peeling the stuff right out of the cracks, you know?
Yeah. It dented my fuel cell. How crazy is that?
So the track didn't hold up for that race, huh?
No, not at all. It was tough, but now it's back to where it was before.
But does it have, are the stones coming up through the pavement to where it has like that cheese grater effect on your tire, or is it not that rough yet?
Surprisingly, it's not. It's nowhere near as like Myrtle Beach. Like Myrtle Beach is like a parking lot, where Hickory it's okay. Like you can run your foot across the surface, and it's not like a carpet. It's almost like a hardwood floor where it just glides right over and doesn't kind of like have a speed bump effect. So that's the good part about it, is it doesn't wear out your tires as bad, but over time it will.
Now, you know, we're all modified people up here. We know down south it's late model people, and there is a big modified race going down there next month. It's on the North-South Shootout. How do you think the modified race will be at Hickory?
Modifieds get around Hickory pretty good. My only question is, I wonder how many laps it's going to be. I myself have driven a modified, and it's a little bit different. It's very similar to a super late model, but in my mind, I gotta remember that although I have twice as much tire, it's gonna burn down pretty good.
Yeah.
The tire wear is pretty quick. I think there will be at least a 30 car modified field, and usually the modifieds that are racing, they're all a stout field. I mean, it's really just with anybody. With the PRA Tour, each division that they have, there's at least 8 or 9 people in the pack that are really competitive within like 0.6 of each other. So that's from one to the top 10. So it's a pretty stout field.
Can you just tell us a little bit about your super late model? Is it a Hamke chassis, or is it like a Fury or anything like that? What type of chassis do you run?
I currently run all Fury. I personally feel that Fury is a very good manufacturer. My one chassis that I have, it was the 12th one ever built, and I recently, last year, my dad and we built a newer one. It's chassis number 145. And I personally feel like the Fury is a very, very unique chassis. It's not heavy, and it helps turn in. Like I'm able to get it in and through the center a lot better than I would with a Hamke, where it's almost like a lead sled. But Hamke is no longer in business, so there's a newer manufacturer. I think it's Rowdy Chassis. They're building it similar or just like the KBM chassis.
Yes. And
it's pretty heavy. So I'm not too sure if that's like an unknown secret that is going to help, or if it's just like in their minds that it helps or not.
Now, when we go down south, there's so many different types of late models, and there's a super late model.
Yeah.
Is yours a car perimeter chassis, or the other type of straight rail, or what is your super?
The super late models are a straight rail, same with the pro late model, and late model stock cars are perimeters.
And you have the coilover shocks and springs?
We're actually bump stopping.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that stuff is badass. I love it. I mean, you go into the corner.
Northern guys don't like that bump stop stuff.
Really?
Yeah, when they send those Fury chassis up here with the modified chassis with the bump stops, everybody takes them off and goes through the conventional shocks and springs up here.
Wow, it's crazy. I love it. It's wonderful. It works wonders.
All right, and what about
Cool
the
deal.
engines? What are you using for an engine?
Oh, cool deal. We use it's called a Hamner Spec, and it is a dry sump. So it's pushing roughly 600 to 620 horsepower. But we don't ever use the full effect of that bad boy. We put restrictors in there between 0.95 and we've gone up to 135s, but that was at a track that's no longer in business, so we only go up to about 1300s now.
And that's just something you restricted on your own. It's not a rule for the late model division.
Yes, that's something we do on our own. We're not able to run a super sucker, but we can run restrictors all the way up to I think it's like 1/400s. I'm not too sure if it goes any bigger than that. Maybe a 1/450, but I think that's pushing it. But most of the tracks down here, you really don't want to go anywhere near that because it just burns up tires. I mean, we're all in tire conservation mode since it's 150 laps.
I just love how you guys spend all this money for a high-powered engine and then you restrict it yourself to slow it down.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because the Pro All-Star Series went to Richmond, and they had us put a 2-barrel on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, how crazy is that, huh? I tell you, I was one upset driver.
Now, is it
Man.
an aluminum head engine or is it a cast iron head engine?
Now that I'm not too sure about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Kodie, have you been running the whole PRA tour? Are you in the points?
Yeah. I am currently leading points. I was leading going into this past race, and now that I won, I feel like I'm locked into the championship if I'm able to finish the rest of these races.
How many race schedule is it?
This season is the PRA Tour debut, so they really didn't do that many races. And originally, I believe it was going to be a 10 race season,
Which is a
but
nice schedule. I like
Yeah.
those travel series that have like a 10 race schedule. But unfortunately, then you lose some rain. You know.
yeah, exactly. We had like 3 or 4 rainouts.
Oh my god.
I mean, it was crazy down here. The very beginning of the season, like all it wanted to do was just rain.
Yeah, we
Really?
had the same problem up here, but then we started getting a lot of racing in. And I remember that happened to you with the Pass Tour that one year. Didn't you guys have because I remember calling your father a couple of times. I'm like, well, what'd you give up on racing? He's like, no, we've got scheduled races. They just keep getting rained out.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. But I mean, I tell you guys what, the rain is not good for Kodie Conner racing, but it sure is good for Cody Cuts lawn mowing. Yes,
Makes the
sir.
grass grow. So when is your next race?
November 2nd, November 1st is practice, and then November 2nd we have practice, qualifying, and then the race.
And where's that at?
South Boston, Virginia.
Oh wow, how far is that from your house?
I think it's between 2.5 hours and 4 hours. Honestly, I really don't remember, but it's not too far, but it's out there.
Have you ever raced at South Boston before?
Yeah. See, the cool thing about South Boston is about maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, they had paved it. So that place is bad to the bone fast. Like, I'm telling you, we picked up a full 2nd and 2/10.
You might have to put a small restrictor plate on that high-powered engine for that track, man.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is it was so smooth that the tires were blistering in the center because it wasn't able to dissipate the heat. But now that the track's been ran on, it's not, the surface is kind of worn in and it's not as smooth as it once was. Like we had to run, I think we ran 50s all the way around just to be able to withstand the heat, the speed of that track. But we ended up having a shortened race too. So it was crazy.
Why was the race shortened?
Because it was just so rough. Like the tires didn't wear, but they were falling apart really bad.
Race short because the tires weren't holding up.
Yeah, we went from 150 laps to I think it was maybe 120, 125. I think it was. I mean, it's not too short, but it is shortened.
That's another thing I learned about racing down south. Not only do they like wore-out racetracks, they love long-distance races down there. They love time trials, and they love starting straight up, and they love long-distance races. I did notice you said fast time, but you didn't start on the pole in that race at Hickory, did you?
No. The Pro All-Star Series does a top 10 redraw, and now the PRA Tour does a top 6 redraw. I don't know if it changes depending on like what they pick at the beginning of the day, and they're like, oh, we're gonna redraw top 6, or I don't know what the deal is there, but I'm not too big into that. I feel like the pole sitter should be able to start on the pole, and they should redraw 2nd through 6th or something like that.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, reward the pole winner what he deserved to win, and give him the pole and let everybody else redraw.
But they do like the PRA Tour, I think, does $150 for getting the pole plus a couple points for getting on the pole. So it's not bad, but my opinion of qualifying, I absolutely prefer qualifying rather than a heat race, because a heat race gives an opponent the opportunity to wreck you before the race starts.
That's true.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
All right, Kodie, we really appreciate you coming in. We wish you the best of luck trying to win that championship on the PAR Tour. We're going to move on to our NASCAR segment, but we definitely want to thank you for calling in, and we definitely keep an eye on you up here, because you're cool deal. Your father's and your uncle and your grandfather were big racers in the north here at Flemington Speedway. Yeah. His grandmother did the powder puffs too. Ruth did the powder puffs too. So yeah, I mean, your dad was very good at Flemington. Your uncle Pride was very good at Flemington, and Jerry was one of the best street stock drivers I ever seen at Wall Stadium. Josh, he made it look easy. He was one of those guys that you just watched him race, and he was so smooth. He would start 18th, and you wouldn't think he'd have a shot. 10 laps into the race, he'd be 5th. By lap 15, he'd be leading the race, and never hit one car. His car never had a scratch on it by the end of the night. Wow. Jerry Conner was definitely one of the smoothest drivers I ever seen in a race car.
And started his career late in life,
Yeah. He was probably in his 40s when he started racing.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
crazy.
Yeah. He had good help, too. I mean, he had Ronnie Buck building in his engines. He had, Tom Mauser coaching him as a driver. I mean, he had a great crew. Don't get me wrong. He had some great people. Ron Buck bars up and worked on them. I mean, he had some beautiful race cars.
Does your dad ever take your car out, practice or anything?
The cool thing about it, I was pestering my father. I was like, Dad, you got to get in here and you got to race with me one race at least. Like, come on now. So there was one race when I was racing Pro Late models. He had it was at Caraway Speedway. I ended up having to bring 2 cars just in case, because this one kid, he was a not a very good driver, and he had wrecked me. So I told him, I said, I'm bringing 2 cars. I'm going to wreck you with one of them and beat you with the other one. So I brought 2 cars, and I was like, Dad, this is your opportunity. I want you to race. And then he's like, well, if I can fit in your fire suit, I'll take it out. So I took my fire suit off, gave him my helmet, everything, and he was like, oh, I fit in there pretty good. So he took it out there for practice, and then I was like, all right, so you're racing this, right? And sure enough, he ended up racing it. That was about maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to your father about that, and you guys do have 2 super late models. He said he would love to race again, but the problem is you need him in the pits. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
something happens to you, he's like, if I had some more reliable crew help where I knew stuff would get done if he had a pit, then I'd be fine with it. But we had the same problem up here, Josh, with Tim O'Shea and Brian O'Shea. Tim O'Shea kind of had to stop racing because every time he's in the race with his kid got a flat. He felt bad that he was out on the track and there's nobody in the pits to help change the tire and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When I did talk to Shannon, he said that was one of the reasons why he's not driving. He just feels he's more needed in the pits helping you than him being out on the track. But I would love to see Shannon back out racing again. I know his driving career stopped a little sooner than he wanted it to because he did make the move down south to be a crew member. Maybe one of these days he'll get back in it,
Yeah, I want him to.
Does he help you on the radio with the line and everything, or does he stay quiet?
This is all me. He's out sleeping right now on a walk. But
who do you use as a spotter?
My spotter is Sir Gregory Brett Edwards. My tire guy is a 16-year-old kid still in high school. My everything guy is my father.
Yeah.
And then I am the owner. I get the luxury of calling myself that, But
you don't get used to calling yourself the owner because when the motor blows up, you got to pay for it. So.
I know. Don't even get me started there. But thankfully, my dad has done what he's done, so I've learned everything he knows. I pretty much know. So I'm very thankful for him to be able, because I wouldn't be able to do what I do without his help. So, I mean, him and we work really good together, and he's a very smart guy. He has a lot of knowledge when it comes to a race car. And that's one thing that I've been privileged with as I've progressed through my racing career. But I mean, together, him and I were able to see what's going on. We'll talk about it. We come to one conclusion, and that conclusion usually works.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to come on the Turkey Derby to race?
If you can find me a car, sure.
That's the problem with your late model. It wouldn't fit in with our late models, right? Because yours is a super.
Yeah.
Pro or whatever. And they're not even like a pro. They're more like a limited late model.
Yeah, trust me. I already tried to smooge them.
I'll add weight. I'll do anything. Just let me.
Yeah, that's what I said. But man, they didn't want to budge.
Well, that's because those super late models are basically like a modified with a full body on them, with the tri-sumps and all that stuff like that. I mean, I love watching them down in New Smyrna. Sometimes those super late models are just as fast as the modifieds. They really get around that track good.
Well, that's like Richmond. We were faster than the Cup guys and the modifieds.
Oh, really?
And we had a 2-barrel.
Oh, yeah. Imagine if they let you a 4-barrel.
It'd be dangerous.
That Richmond race, it rained out, didn't it?
No. Well, actually, the first time, yes, we were supposed to race at the very beginning of the season, or actually the end of one season, and then they changed it to the beginning of the next season. But I had planned on taking my new car there, but then when the time started creeping up, I was like, it's a brand new car. If I wreck at Richmond, I'm wrecking hard. So I ended up taking my older car. That was a mistake. It was, for one, my tire guy's first time helping me out. At the time, he was 15. And then during the race, my body blew apart. So I kind of had to come in and pit early. But I got to watch my race end, and it was pretty cool. It was a pleasure to be there.
Was that the biggest track you ever raced at?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely the fastest track I've been racing at too.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely cool when they have that race because they have the modifieds there. They also have street stocks there, which is really cool that they let street stocks race at Richmond. It's definitely a cool weekend. I already seen that they're going to have it again next year. So maybe you guys can fasten your body on a little bit better this time. Which I'm surprised because your dad was a fabricator. You know, your dad was a body guy. You should have had that figured out before you went there.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, the good thing about it is he is the body guy, so he knows the secrets on how to lighten it up.
Yeah, he made it too light where it fell apart.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right, Kodie, we really appreciate you calling in, and maybe give us a call before like the North-South shootout, and we'll talk again. And we really appreciate you calling, and we wish you luck, and we hope you win the championship. And thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Kodie, when you had that car that looked like your grandfather's car, that thing was so badass.
Thank
do you
you.
still have that car, or is that?
I was able. Well, my dad and I, we came with the decision to take the body off in one piece, and we still have the body. We still have the same car, but it's a new body, or it's a newer body with a different wrap scheme on it. But I have one very similar to it, but it's not exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
But the one with Tom and Jerry racing all over it, that is, I kept that body for our sake.
Yeah, that was very cool.
What about the Kodiak paint scheme car?
That car that we raced in the Kodiak for the throwback, that's the car we won at or won with this past weekend. But I kept the Kodiak hood. Thank you to Accident Imaging Incorporated. I was able to get that Kodiak Bear put on, and able to get my car looking sexy with that green black Kodiak.
Yeah. You know what was cool about that too? That was a car that your father worked on back in the day too. So it had like a personal touch to it, where you guys had affiliated with that car.
You won best appearing with that car, didn't you?
We won best appearing crew members. First place embroidery did an awesome job with our embroidery work with a bear on the back and bear on the pants, Accident Imaging on the pants. Minnie Tyrell did a throwback to Jeff Gordon with the DuPont Rainbow car, and he ended up winning the best appearing car.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure that car looked awesome, but that throwback with the Jeff Gordon Rainbow car has been done like a million times. I just don't see it that original anymore. Just like the Davey Allison car, that's always done too. The 20 Halloween, you know.
That's very true. That's very true.
Kodie, we appreciate you calling in, and tell your parents we said hello, and good luck the rest of the season.
Will do. I appreciate it. It was good talking to you guys, Timmy, Joshua, and Scott. Thank you guys. I'll be on here whenever you want me.
All right, man. Thanks, Kodie.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one. All right. Do you guys want to take a break, or you want to keep going?
I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. Let's go.
All right. Let's keep rolling. So let's move on to NASCAR. Talladega weekend. It's Talladega, baby, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull the doc back up. I did watch the Talladega truck race. It was a great race. Unfortunately, it had a weird ending where they took the win away from Johnny Sauter for blocking or going under the yellow line. The crazy thing was what he did on the truck race was kind of the same thing that Ryan Newman did in the Cup race, and there was no penalty. And the only difference I can see is Johnny Sauter won the race and Ryan Newman didn't. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of a weird ending to that truck race, and I felt bad for Johnny Sauter. He did block a little bit, and they did go under the yellow line, but no one advanced their position. You know what I'm saying?
The way that they were reading the rule, just so anyone listening can hear, was that if you block and force someone to go below the yellow line, you can be penalized for that. Now, anybody else blocking, you know, if it was on the back stretch, they probably would have let it go because, you know, the person could have come back up and recovered unless it caused a wreck. Yeah. But, you know, because I guess they figured it affected the outcome of the race.
Right.
But the guy that he blocked didn't cross the line second.
Right, right. That's what I mean. Like I don't know. It was weird, and I was disappointed in that call with NASCAR. But then it was explained later that they did explain it in the drivers' meeting. Don't do this, and they did that, and that's why the disqualification was there. And the other bad part I didn't like about it is they disqualified him all the way back to 14th.
Was that the last car in the lead lap?
They made him. Yeah, last truck on the lead lap,
Okay.
and I think that's a little extreme. Maybe 2 or 3 spots, but man, to really take it away from him like that was pretty torturous, you know. And
Right.
and 1 minute, I always want to say, I'm like, maybe on the last lap, get rid of that rule, you know, and let them duke it out. But then listening to Larry McReynolds, he says he's like you kind of need that rule because he remembered the days when there was no out of bounds there, and he's like basically people were running motorhomes over in the infield to gain spots on the racetrack. They were going so low on the racetrack, you know. So yeah, I don't know. It's just whenever something exciting happens in NASCAR lately, it's kind of like football. I know Josh, you don't watch football, but I've been trying to watch these football games lately. Something exciting happens and then they throw a flag and it gets neglected. You know, it's just like people are saying NASCAR's getting boring, it's getting boring, and then when something exciting happens like that, when they're fighting for the win, coming to the finish, and they're blocking and rubbing and bumping and scraping and fighting for that win, and it gets taken away. It's just like here we are, we had an exciting finish and they take it away with a rule. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Let them race the last lap. That's what I say.
Well, it's one of those things where you give them an inch, they take a mile, and
right,
and that just like you were saying, they're going to run the folks over on the infield. If you give them, if you say anything that's paved, they're going to go down and be touching the grass.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. You give them an inch, they take a mile, and they did take a little more than that inch, but they didn't take a mile. Like I don't think it was that extreme where he should have been penalized. This should have been one of those things. Okay, close enough. He blocked a little bit, but he did block him for a second, and then come back up and give him room. No one advanced position. I think he should have had that win. It wasn't extreme. Have the rule to be enforced. If you push them all the way down into the grass and they're sliding through the grass, then yeah. But just to move down a little bit,
Now, who was it that he blocked again? I can't remember off the top of my head. Do you think that they lifted at all when they dropped below the yellow, or were they still on the throttle? I mean, because
he didn't lose no momentum. He kept right into it. Because what happened was he got Johnny Slaughter in the left rear, and Johnny Slaughter felt him, and he went back up the track. So no, there was nobody lifting in incidents.
Okay. Well,
that's what I mean. It kind of worked itself out. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody lost anything. Nobody gained anything. Just I don't know. They should just left it alone, and they did in the Cup race. That's what really confuses me.
Yeah. Well, I think there's also
Ryan
that
did the same blocking.
You could kind of apply what you just said. Granted, the rule is actually different for the Cup Series with the locking bumpers. They let the Cup guys lock the bumpers, but if you're in the Xfinity or the Truck Series, you're only allowed to bump. You can't lock the bumpers. And what was it? Stuart Friesen got penalized for along with Brett Moffitt for locking the bumpers in the truck race.
Yeah,
and
Stuart Friesen he had a few. Then he had a penalty. He had a stop and go penalty. He had a tough day penalizing for him to come out of there with a 5th place finish was pretty impressive.
What was that? Too fast entering and something else. So he had a rough day, and he made a pretty good comeback from it. But with the cautions and everything, that helped it. But the thing is, they're treating them as they don't want the truck guys or the Xfinity guys locking bumpers because, I guess in theory, because they're less experienced. But I mean, you're still talking the top 3 tiers of racing, at least in oval track. And
another thing I don't like about the locking the bumper rule, like they penalize both guys. So Josh, if me and you are going down the back straightaway at Talladega, and I run in the back of you and lock your bumper, you have no control over that. So I can get you disqualified anytime I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can literally be in that truck waving your hand saying, "Get off my back bumper," and you're still going to get penalized like with me. I think it should just be the guy that's doing the pushing and the locking. Yeah. Because you have no control over that. You know what I'm saying?
The only thing is, what if I wanted to do the reverse to you? Let's say I'm still in the front. you
Mhm.
come up on me and I start dragging the brake just a hair so that you stay into me. I'm just saying, can
But
it
I
be
can
done both
control that
ways?
situation. Yeah, I understand that, but I can control that situation. I can slow down or I can move past you, go underneath you. You know what I'm saying? The second guy in that line has control of that situation, and I feel bad for some of these guys because someone gets up behind them and pushes them, and they're probably get off me, and the next thing they know, they're getting penalized.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just stay right on the trucks here. We'll finish up the trucks. You have Chastain causes the big one by trying to block late in the race.
Yeah, he
I
kind of
like
owned
Chastain.
that. He did own
Yeah, he
up to
did.
that.
And we love Chastain on here. We had his crew chief Phil Gould on the show before, and we're all good friends with Phil Gould.
Mhm.
But it's kind of like Chastain's kind of like starting to buy into his own hype lately, and he has been aggressive and he's been praised for it, and now he's kind of doing it a little too much, and it finally caught up with him. And he did cause the big wreck, and he admitted it was his fault.
So now is that something, obviously it was a bad move or the wrong move because of what happened, but I mean, in a race you have a fraction of a second to make a decision or make a move, and
Yeah.
so was that something that he could have seen coming further ahead, or was it he just made the wrong decision in that split second?
It was a daring, aggressive move, and he's gotten away with a lot of moves like that lately, and he didn't get away with this one. It finally caught up to him. That's the way I look at it. Josh's girlfriend, Natalie Decker.
Oh, baby.
She was having a great race. She hung around like 15th to 18th the whole race, and she takes a lot of crap that she wrecks. She got caught up in a wreck. Unfortunately, she did get caught up in another wreck, but it is Talladega, and there's really not much she could have did in that wreck. She didn't cause it. She just got caught up in it. So I felt a little bad for her.
She got on the brakes pretty good. She made very minor contact. Considering the wreck that was happening in front of her, she did get slowed up quite a bit and did pretty good job. I mean, you don't know which way those cars are going to go sometimes. I mean, sometimes they come right back up in front of you. Sometimes they're sliding down.
Oh, yeah.
So that worked out for her. She did finish. I have to look at where, but it wasn't a bad race for her. Where did she end up? 16th.
Well,
that's not too bad.
She did end up finishing. Good for her. And you know what? That's probably where she was going to finish anyway if she wasn't caught up in that. Because, like I said, that's where she was running all day. Like every time I looked, at the ticker, I kind of looked to see where she's at, and she was always like 15th to 18th. She was right in there all day long.
Yeah.
We already talked about Johnny Silver crossing the line first by getting DQ. The other funny thing about him getting DQ, they took so long to DQ him. Like they let him celebrate on the front straightaway, do burnouts, and give the checkered flag away and everything like that. And then they DQ him. They should have been a little quicker on the DQ or told him to hold up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then when they did make the decision, he already had his helmet off, so he couldn't hear over the radio.
He didn't know.
Yeah.
He didn't even know, so that was a little weird that it was weird they DQ'd him in the first place, but then it was real weird how they did it. And it was funny watching Spencer Boyd because he was trying to get out of his truck because the Cup cars were lined up to qualify, and he was running in the Cup race as well. Yeah. So he was rushing to go to the Cup car. Next thing he knows, he's like, "What? I won? I got to take the truck to victory lane." And he basically drove the truck in the victory lane and ran out of there to go get into the Cup car.
I think I saw something where they gave him the checkered flag. He ended up not doing the donuts or anything like that afterwards. And he just gave the flag to a kid. So I don't know whether that was a time.
It was definitely a weird ending to a great race, and I kind of wish it didn't happen, but who am I to say? But if you want to give us the RPM top 10 finishing order of the truck race, now's the time to do it.
So Boyd gets the win after Sauter gets DQ'd. Second was Gilliland, Herbst, Moffitt, Friesen with fifth place after several penalties, so we got to give him credit. Austin Hill, Tyler Ankrum was up there all day. Matt Crafton, Creed, and Enfinger are your top 10. Overall, I'd say it was a pretty exciting race. It was a good race.
It was.
And not
the only good thing about the outcome of it, of the truck race, real quick, is Spencer Boyd getting a win. It was kind of cool that a small team did leave there with a win, even though it was a little bit weird way to get it.
I'm sure they'll take it.
All right, so we're moving on to the Cup race. It was rain postponed till Monday. The one funny thing I seen on the internet is Dale Jr. had a doctor's note. for people to get. Did you see that posted anywhere, Josh? You could have
Yeah,
printed it
yeah.
out.
Please excuse him. The race is, yeah. I saw that.
And it was signed by Dale Jr. It was a doctor's note saying come to work because you're going to be staying home watching the race, and it was signed by Dale Jr. I thought that was pretty cool. I tell you what, the crowd was good on Sunday.
I was just going to say I don't think a lot
of
of the fans actually work anyway.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, it was a lot less on Monday. I also noticed a lot of motorhomes were gone on Monday.
Yeah.
And the weird thing about it being on Monday, too, not only was it on Monday, but they didn't have it till 2 o'clock. So imagine, waiting around a whole nother day, and now it's like later in the day. They usually, they used to start them like at 11 o'clock. You know what I'm saying?
Get it over
But there is a
with.
time difference from. Yeah. So they waited around for 2 o'clock, and someone joked around saying, well, they got to wait for the Price is Right to be over with for the TV contract to get the Cup race started, you know what? It's joking, but I'm sure there was some type of thing like that with the TV. It was definitely, the 2 o'clock start time was for TV,
It may well have been, but other than getting past soap operas or whatever, I mean, if you're looking at your regular crowd that works 9 to 5, 2 o'clock ain't helping them any.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So let's see. What were the highlights from that? Well,
Bowman calls the first big one.
Yeah,
he admitted it. He tried to block, and they were just coming way too fast to try to throw a block, and he got turned and wrecked a lot of cars.
Bad timing, poor execution. I titled it "Rock 'em, Block 'em, Bowman," because
yeah, but he admitted it. He said it was his fault, and he apologized to everybody. Unfortunately, his teammate Jimmy Johnson got caught up in it as well.
Well, they wanted the Chevys to stick together, and the Chevys stuck together by getting all wrecked.
You know what? That was another weird thing that was going on at this race. They were making a big deal out of like all the manufacturers having meetings and wanting people to work together. That's been going on forever. Yeah. I don't know why they were making such a big deal out of it this time, but it never happens. They do the best they can, but sooner or later they're going to get tied up with a Toyota and have no choice to push a Toyota with a Chevy. It just happens. I mean, you can try to stick with your people as much as you can, but it doesn't always work out.
You're going to get shuffled
so they
around.
can have all the. Yeah, you can have all the meetings you work. It all comes down to racing circumstances or who you're going to work with there with the last few laps to go,
Yeah. But yeah, so my comment on the Bowman thing was going to be that, honestly, after he got, shoved, for trying to block, he didn't have the speed to try to block. When he went down to, to the infield there, if he had turned it the other way and just locked him down and spun, he could have probably minimized the incident, I think. But the way he tried to save it, it kind of caused him to go up the track more than he would have. That's what I think.
And another problem I have with that too, it's too early in the race to throw blocks like that. I mean, I don't know where we were within the stage race itself, but it just wasn't worth it at that time of the race. You know what I'm saying? What he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, he made a mistake and he made it to it, and we move on from that. You have Boyer pushing the limits. What did you have there, Josh?
He was doing a lot of pushing. He was. Oh, yeah. And they were saying how Boyer's one of the best guys to push. He knows how to do it. And they're talking all about the shape of the bumpers and things like that. But Boyer kind of has it down pat, I guess. And then a little bit later, Boyer gets he spins out and gets hung up on the transition from the banking to the flat infield there, and he got high sided. He couldn't get. They had guys out there trying to hand push him off. Like you need a tow truck. You're not lifting 3,400 pounds to get it off. I don't know if you caught that.
And Boyer's one of those guys that was in a contract year and he was racing hard to keep his job, and he must have impressed somebody because they did announce today that he is going to drive that car again in 2020. So good thing for Boyer. You have Kyle versus Kurt.
Oh, that was
Kyle
what was that, the second or third big one they had?
Yeah.
Kyle Busch coming from fairly far back. I mean, he was just making moves and got up there. They were 3 wide, and Kyle got down in front of Kurt. Kurt was pushing him, and Stenhouse came up to side draft Kyle, it looked like. And I don't know if the air affected Kyle, or Kyle just tried to turn a little bit to get away, or if Kurt got another bump in on Kyle, or the bump came from farther back. But Kyle gets turned sideways up towards the wall, and just all chaos breaks loose. And he ended up hitting, was it Brendan Gaughan? And
I know Brendan Gaughan had a big run on the outside going to the lead, and he was in the front, almost past that. And Kyle's car or Kurt's car, I forget who it was. I think it was Kyle's car.
Yeah.
Just caught his bumper and sent him flipping over. It was one of those things. Another 6 inches that he would have
been.
Brendan Gaughan would have been fine.
He could have potentially won that damn race.
I'm fine. There's nothing in front of me. I'm fine. And next thing he knows, he's sideways and flipping through the air. That was a crazy wreck, man.
It was great. He handled it really well in the interview.
I felt bad for Brendan.
Oh, I felt terrible for him. I mean, you're talking about a small team that only runs, the super speedways. And
4 times a year. Yeah, 4 times a year. And they only have 2 cars, They only have 2 super speedway cars, and they just really recently, they used to have just one, and now they finally have a backup car. And everybody's like, oh, Dale Senior's flipped like that and kept going. Brendan should have kept going. When that thing hit the track, that thing bent like a banana. You can see the rear end just blow out of the thing when it landed back on the racetrack. That car was not going anywhere,
But he did land square. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he said it was a soft landing too. He said it wasn't nothing, because because that happened to Eric Almirola a few years back when he got airborne, when the car landed, he broke his back, and he's like, "No, I feel fine." It actually, and like I said, you can see the rear like literally just blow out of things. So it was like that absorbed the energy. He said, "No, it was if you're gonna flip at Talladega, that was probably one of the best ways to flip because the roof never hit the track and the thing landed back on its wheels."
I mean, to me, it didn't look incredibly soft. I mean, yeah, he landed back on the tires and suspension absorbed a lot of it. So that is probably the best way to land it. But he's also talking about like stadium super trucks and things like that where he's used to flipping and driving like crazy. So I mean, if you can handle driving a monster truck and landing that flip probably didn't feel like much. And what was he saying?
And it came down to the point 000 over Newman at the finish. Newman lost by just a little bit. And at the end there, I was for the drivers that were front. I was hoping Newman would win, just simply for the fact that he hasn't won in a while, and he's one of the older guys in the series. And I would have really liked to see him win that race.
I thought he had it
real close.
I really thought he had it.
I thought he had it too.
And
there's really nothing he could have done differently. Just you're kind of like a sitting duck when you're leading there on the last lap like that, and he just got past. I really thought he had it too. And then he had a funny statement afterwards. He said, they put $500 million in this place. You think they would have painted that stripe a little bit wider on the front straightaway? You got to remember Talladega's start finish line's further down the track. And it's a real narrow finish line. Like these other tracks are like 5 foot wide, and they'll say like Talladega on them or something like that. And this is a narrow one. He's like, man, if that line would have been one of those wide start finish lines, I would have won. But he took it good. I mean, it was like like he said, it sucks that he didn't win, but when you go to a track like that, it's about survival. He survived. He finished second. He's in one piece, so it could have been a lot worse day than it was. But he would have liked to get the win.
Well, I mean, you look. There's probably some decent purse money for second. And all that. Yeah. So, I mean, like, he's not going to be hurting too bad for him. Yeah, I'm sure he wanted the win, obviously. But you had a great finish.
He hasn't won it all the time. He needs a win, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But it was...
And I was pulling for him because he's one of the older guys, and I'd like to see him win, and unfortunately he didn't win.
That was a good 3-wide finish. I mean, if you ignore the cars that were wrecking and spinning in the back there, I thought they were going to throw the yellow out before. Because
when they were wrecking behind him, well, he was hoping for that too, because he would have thrown the yellow, the race would have been over, and he would have won then too.
Exactly.
And there again, we put NASCAR down for a few things they do wrong. One thing they did right there is they let the race finish, and they didn't throw the yellow. So that was a good call on NASCAR's part. Go ahead, Josh. Give us the top 10 of the Cup race from Talladega.
You got it. Unfortunately, Ryan Blaney gets the win over Ryan Newman. Followed by Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola, Michael McDowell with the 5th place finish. That's pretty good. Don't see his name up there very often. Austin Dillon, Corey LaJoie, also one you don't see up that high usually. Chase Elliott, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Ty Dillon. rounds out your top 10.
That's one thing I like about the super speedways. It's the big, equalizer, the restrictor plate equalize these teams, and it's cool seeing the small teams up front like Michael McDowell, Corey LaJoie, and even Ty Dillon for that matter of fact. It's a good race. I enjoyed it. I always like.
I liked how Logano finished with all that silver tape.
Yeah,
looked like a
still
damn
running
spaceship.
good. I think Blaney even had. Ryan Blaney even had damage on his car, and he was able to win with his car beat up in Talladega. And I like how they always say, you got to spend so much time smoothing these cars out and wind tunnel that and wind tunnel this, and then they go and win with a wrecked race car. So I don't think it's all that important.
I wonder how many flaps.
Talladega is definitely on one. Oh yeah, remember? Did you see that? They were all blown off that one flap.
Yeah,
the
the right
flap.
the right front hood flap there.
I think NASCAR's gonna have to look into that. It's almost like these teams were designing those flaps to blow off because people were losing them like crazy. It came to the point they were losing so many of those flaps they weren't even throwing like a debris caution for them anymore. They were just blowing off. And they're just letting them blow off, and wherever they went, they went.
Because parts of it.
And it got to the point like the TV. It even got to the point where the TV announcers didn't even care anymore. They're like, "Yep, there goes another flap. Yep, there goes another flap." Like everybody lost that one flat, and it was all on the right front. So I don't know. They're gonna have to look into to see what was going on there.
Wasn't in the truck race, Friesen's rear deck flap was coming up too. I believe it was.
Yeah, that's common with those trucks too.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's a lot of suction there. But for them getting stuck there, and then they wanted to tape it down. But I was like, he just won the stage. I don't think it's hurting him much. So, but yeah, those hood flaps were. Did you notice? What was it with Logano's when his hood flipped up? It actually pushed the camera like through the roof. They had that.
Oh no, I didn't see
camera.
that.
Yeah, so they were trying to. They went back to the view of the roof cam, and it was just all black. So the camera was still working, but it got smushed down, and was useless at that point.
All right, guys. So that wraps up our NASCAR segment. It's getting late here, so we want to move on with the show. We're going to move to local, which everybody likes. We're going to start off with the Spooky Spectacular. It's going to be this weekend, October 19th on Saturday at Wall Stadium. It is starting early. Just let everybody know that it's an earlier start time. I think the pits open at like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. I think they're trying to get the features to start at 3 p.m.
Okay.
It's a 75-lap modified race. 25 laps for the four cylinders, 25 laps for the legend cars, and just announced today the factory stocks are going 50 laps. It was originally going to be 25 laps, and they bumped it up to 50 laps. So the factory stocks have a 50 lapper.
Good. I'm sorry. Gates open. All right. So gates open at 11. They're doing a massive bingo game from 1 to 1:30. Qualifying will be at 1:40. Bingo again at 2:30 to 3, and the races will start at 3 p.m. So, the feature.
Sounds like a great day of racing. The weather looks great for this weekend. It's supposed to be just like last weekend, Josh, like 70 and sunny.
Oh, it was gorgeous this past weekend. Absolutely
perfect camping weather, wasn't it? Even when the sun went down, it got cool enough for a fire. It's supposed to be just like this weekend. So, got a great race lined up at Wall Stadium. There's the annual Spooky Spectacular. It's really turned into a great race weekend. I have a crazy race weekend. I got to do the 50 lapper with my car and Nancy's car at Wall Stadium. And then on Sunday, we're heading out to Grandview for the Outlaw Enduro Series. They have a 50 lap makeup race that we're allowed to enter. And not only that, we have the originally scheduled 75 lapper out there. So we're doing a 50 lapper and a 75 lapper. After we do our 50 lapper at Wall Stadium on Saturday, we're doing that on Sunday out at Grandview. And that's the Outlaw Enduro Series. They have a whole Halloween themed day out there too. So if anybody's in the area of Grandview Speedway on Sunday, that starts at 1 p.m. They have a whole Halloween themed enduro racing there too. So it's great weekend of racing coming up here.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much for Wall Stadium. Andrew Krause, whose mom runs Wall Stadium, he had a great weekend up at Thompson. He actually won the pole for the modified race, and that's pretty impressive because he doesn't run the tour full time. For him to get the pole against some very great race teams out there. Not only that, they had 40 cars take time trials. 40 modified
sounds
take
like
time trials.
Sounds like your wife is having a good time. I don't know. I heard something.
Yeah. They had 40 modifieds take time, and Andrew was able to get the pole. So good for Andrew. Tim, how did Andrew do in the race up there?
We ended up him and the Pastriak kid came together, and he ended up in the wall. I don't know if he finished or not after that. He faded back a little bit at first. I don't know how long he stayed up front for, but he did fade back a little bit, and then him and the 75 got together, and I think it bent the car up enough where he wasn't in contention to win. But it was good to see him qualify good and run good for the first couple of laps. Those guys run hard up there. They run hard every lap, so he held his own until something happened to the car. I'm not really sure what. Our day was okay. We ran good, and after the pit stop, the car was just a little tight on the bottom. And if anybody's ever been to Thompson, you got to be able to pass on the bottom there because the groove is up high, and we just couldn't get the final touch where he couldn't dive bomb him and then get up in front of him because the car was too tight. We ended up finishing sixth, I think, and we ended up sixth in points. Yeah, it's not bad, but we're a better team than that. We should be running a little bit better than that.
Yeah, but like
so
Scott said,
sixth in the race, sixth in points.
Yeah, sixth in the race, sixth in the points.
There's 40 cars there, so finishing sixth, nothing to hang your head.
And they started all 40.
I know, which is cool. I'm glad to see that they started all 40.
Wow, that's actually really impressive.
They did the thing with Mike Stefanik's car, the last car that he built. His daughter took it out before the feature.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she did a pace lap before the feature.
She stalled out?
She did it first, but she got it going.
Yeah.
She did all right, yeah.
Modifieds are hard to get going. That must have been a thrill for her.
Yeah, yeah. And the place was packed. I like to look at license plates when I'm walking into the. I saw a license plate from Florida, and I saw a Canadian license plate. So there was, from the top of the state to the bottom of the states, there was people represented there in the grandstands. Good racing. All the racing was good. I'm trying to think what they call them now, the SK Light race, I guess they call it there. That was a really good race. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see some of the street stock. Usually the street stock racing is good there, but they were all after us on Sunday, and we opted to get out of there. It was a long weekend. I had the spot for somebody in the MRS race, which I don't normally do these weekends because
Andrew ran that race too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Do you know do they do that with the same car, or they use a different car for that?
No, I think they used his wall mod for that one.
Oh, really? Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah. He got into an accident in that. They had to go by points for that one because it got rained out.
Okay.
So obviously he didn't have any points, so he had to start in the back. And then he got into an accident with somebody in the back. The guy that I spotted for was actually Eric Goodale's brother-in-law. He finished 11th. But like I said, we were there till God knows 11:30 at night on Saturday before our race got done. And the ACT race was horrible. They should stay in Canada, that division.
I tell you what, late models, I don't care what part of the country you're in or even out of the country, late models tear some stuff up.
Tim, you mean horrible as in they wrecked a lot?
It took 45 minutes to do 9 laps.
Oh, we're used to that. One special division.
Blake Barney ran really well. He did good.
Yeah,
I don't know where he finished. Do you know where he finished, Chuck?
I don't know where he finished. I saw JC Duvall.
He was like 17th. I think Blake ended up 17th.
But he must have got shuffled at the end.
Something with I tow for the Barneys, and Bert was telling me something about a change tire. There's a change tire, it's a different compound, and he shouldn't have went to that compound. When he went to that compound, it didn't work as good as the other tires. He said he should have kept the harder compound tire on and not gone to the softer one. He did tell me something also pretty cool today, that now that the King of the Green at Evergreen got postponed to this weekend, which is on Sunday. Blake's going to be able to make that race now. So Blake's going to go up and race the King of the Green race at Evergreen this Sunday. And he wouldn't have been able to do it last time because of the modified tour. So now he's able to do that race because of a postponement. So it's pretty cool to see that Blake's going to go up there with his NASCAR modified tour car to race the modified portion of that weekend up there.
Oh, that's good. I mean, hopefully it helps their turnout overall too, because I know it's a big race for them, and they. I think I saw a bunch of Ted Gross posts from the first day of King of the Green, just how what a great turnout they had, and all the excitement or whatever. So I mean, it's good to see them, doing well. And hopefully this is a positive thing with that weather postponement, and things like Blake going up
The
there.
car count of the King of the Green this Sunday is going to determine what happens on Saturday. There's two big races going on with the same modifieds that plan on racing Sunday at Evergreen. They have the Spooky race at Wall Stadium, and they also have a big modified race at. Oh no, that was last weekend. They had a big modified race at Mahoney Valley. So yeah, basically, I know some of the guys like Ricky Collins and all them were saying they're waiting to see how they make out of Wall Stadium on Saturday before they commit going back up to Evergreen on Sunday.
Right, right.
I think Ron Freeze is another one that's in that boat as well.
Well, let's hope that Wall goes smoothly and with few incidents, and that they can make it to Evergreen as well. The more racing, the better. The more laps, the merrier, right? Um, Looking at Scott's weekends. How many?
Yeah, and just real quick, Justin Bonsignor won the modified tour race at Thompson Speedway, and Doug Kobe won the championship. That's his 6th championship. That's pretty impressive. 6th NASCAR modified tour championship. That's pretty impressive.
Wow. Okay.
All right, Josh, you have quarter midgets next on our list. You have anything for the quarter midget people?
Yes, I do. I just got to open the email, and I have the results from Sunday, October 13th, 2019, for the Garden State Quarter Midget Racing Club. The Blue Rookie A Main, Dexter Niemi, Casey Janey, Nick McMinn. The Junior Honda A Main, Chris Buffalino, Anthony Kane, Aubrey Bain, Cole Ferris, Jack McMinn, Jake Mullen, Ryan Patterson. The Senior Honda A Main, Braden Janey, Justin Ferris, Jojo Leonardo, Gianni Monteleone, Brandon Sullivan, and Thomas Schwartz. The Heavy Honda A Main, Ryan Boyd, Ryan McConnell, Zach Leonardo, and Justin Emmons. The Junior Animal Trophy Race, Anthony Kane, Chris Buffalino, Jack McMinn, Mason White, and there's a special note for the fast time of Chris Buffalino with a 7.796. The Senior Animal Trophy Race, Jackson White, Ryan Coulthau, Thomas Schwartz, Brandon Sullivan, and Ryan Coulthau had the fast time with 7.111. The Unrestricted Animal Trophy Race was Zach Leonardo. The Light 160 Trophy Race is Jackson White, Ryan Coulthau, Jojo Leonardo, Thomas Shores, Brandon Sullivan. The Heavy 160 Trophy Race, Ryan Boyd, Justin Emmons, Zach Leonardo, Ryan McConnell, and Abby Witter. The Light Formula Trophy Race, Jackson White, Ryan Coulthau, and Jared Kreider. And they got down to a 6.8, which, I mean, think about it. I know whenever I picked up a 10th or something like that, I was so excited when I first started. So, it's a big deal. So after that, we're going to go to the, where is it? The Sunday series. And then I have a second emails regarding the champions that I'm going to follow this up with. So the World Formula Microstocks, we have Dalton Rivera, Bob Wagner, Ryan Baxter, Tyler Wagner, Richie Tazinski, Josh Barry, Ashley Tyler, Mike Fox Jr., Joe Gary, John Crane, and Brian Russell. The Modified Microstocks, we have Tom Irvin, Mike Fox Jr., Mike Brennan, Josh Barry, Ashley Tyler, Jim Van Dyne, Bill Craner, and Corinne Kazmierski. I'm losing it, folks. I'm sorry. The Senior Champ Carts, Joe Parker, Mike Berner, and Joe Mingoria, and Mike Brennan. The Junior Champ Carts, Will Cloud, Mike Hall, Alex Greats, Tyler Ritchie, and Eric Zank. The Sportsman Blue, we have Justin Teresas, Aiden Greats, and Aiden Spencer. The Sportsman Red, we have Darren Krantz, Alexis Riggleman, Howie Conk Jr., Bailey Riggleman, and Jace Mullen, or JC, I guess. In the 206ers, we have Mike Berner, Jim Hall, Kerry Irwin, Mike Brennan, Joe Mingoria, and Leanne Sherry. Now, I'm going to go real quick to the email. So this is going to be the unofficial Sunday Series 2019 champions. In the Junior Champ Gold, we have Will Cloud. The Modified Microstock is Tom Irvin. World Formula Microstock is Bob Wagner. Senior Champ Flathead. That's not a nice thing to call him. Mike Brennan. Sportsman Red, Darren Krantz. Sportsman Blue, Justin Teresak. And the Senior Champ 206, James Hall. And
I also understand too in that Sunday Series, Josh, just like that Legend Car race, they had that two race drop rule, and I heard that came to fruition and changed some chain and stuff like that. I'm against that rule. Yeah. Either you're racing for points or you're not. None of this two drop race. Either you're dedicated to do it or you're not.
It cost Alexis the championship.
Yeah, she's there all the races.
She was there for all the races. The kid that won wasn't there for the first two races, and when they dropped the two, he ended up winning. I mean, he did do what he had to do to win, and he did do it by the rules, but it doesn't.
It doesn't seem fair to the people that are committed to being there every week.
And that's exactly right. Sometimes these rules in racing, they cater to the people who ain't there every week.
Race.
Yeah, and it hurts the people that who are supporting you, and they're there every week. It happens to us with the handicap system sometimes at Allstate. Like, we're here every week supporting you, and then you'll let someone else come in that missed a week or something and start on the pole, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I'm trying to make sure I get it right, because I thought part of the handicapping system also involved you had to be there. 3 weeks is it to start getting your handicap?
Yeah, but now they're doing 3 out of 4. You can miss a week and not lose your handicap.
Oh, okay. So I was gonna say, didn't Jerry get the pole one race recently? Was it the one that he won?
I don't know.
I thought it was that, and he ended up getting the pole, and I was like, wait a second, he missed a race or something.
Yeah,
he wasn't there. Right. How the hell?
Now they're letting you miss it. Yeah, now they're letting you. Now they're taking 3 out of the last 4 races, so you're allowed to miss a race. I don't know.
I remember I was, when I was active and actually driving, I was there every week. I wasn't particularly fast, but I was there every week. I mean, you know it, Scott. I was committed to it, and I sucked on my own.
All right, so that brings us to the "What Have We Learned" segment of the show. I'll start off by saying I learned that Kodie Conner says business in a weird way.
The business, boy.
He says business. It's all about the business down there. He was a great interview. I learned that Kodie Conner really knows a lot about his race car, other than he doesn't know if he has aluminum heads on the motor or not. Other than that, he answered every question. He knows that car inside and out. And he's a young guy too. He's only like 18 or 19 years old.
Very, very,
very impressive driver. And, yeah, very smart. It was very enjoyable talking to him. Tim, what have you learned?
I didn't pay that much attention to learn anything tonight.
Tim, you're the one to do the show tonight, and you're not into it.
Yeah.
Josh, what did you learn today?
All right, I learned that Scott has been keeping an eye on Kodie for a while. I learned that they don't race camels at New Egypt Speedway.
They should, though.
I learned that hot tires mean you're peeling stuff out of your cracks in no time.
I did remember. I was going to write that one down. I was, and I forgot.
And I learned that Kodie gets it in and through the center really good.
Really hard, I think you said.
That's all I got for today. That was fun. Otherwise, yeah, he was a great interview.
Before we end the show, not any kind of conspiracy because it's not that show, but go to Wall Stadium. Go to Wall Stadium this Saturday. If some of the stuff I heard at the tour race is true, go to Wall Stadium this Saturday in Turkey Derby.
They're supposed to have an announcement this weekend, Tim?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's going to be a good one. So go to Wall Stadium while you can. What a second.
Okay.
All right, guys. On a very weird note, we'll end our show. That concludes episode 154 of the RPM podcast. But do go to Wall Stadium this weekend. You also got on Saturday, we have Wall Stadium. You also have Grandview Speedway on Sunday. You also have the King of the Green at Evergreen on Sunday. Great race weekend coming up. Please go out and enjoy it. And we'll see you guys again all next week. Thanks for joining us.
Go to Wall.
Okay, go to Wall.